Hi, this segment, I want to talk a little bit about the implications of that funding formula and how it works to the disadvantage of our community. And let me just point to Chicago, for example, particularly in our poor neighborhoods. And I'm talking about communities like East and West Garfield Park, North Lawndale, Inglewood, Auburn Gresham, Chatham, and I could go on and on. What we have is the lowest per student allocation for their education. And it makes our schools inadequately funded, and therefore their performance is inadequate. The impact of this inadequate performance, particularly looking at our young black males, in some of our public schools in the Chicagoland area, black male graduation rates is a downward of 40%, which means 60% of these young men are not even getting a high school education. And considering the quality of that education, and they're not even getting to the high school graduate level, it leaves them standing on our street corners at a very early age, unemployed, and exposed to the over-policing of their daily activities. These young men are often arrested, charged with petty crimes, locked up in jail, and given their lack of understanding about the legal system, they are oftentimes unable to post bond for these arrests, and the state's attorney will go in and ask them to plead guilty for a minor offense without that young person knowing that they are pleading guilty to a felony. And as such, this happens over and over again. So by the time this 15, 16, 17-year-old high school dropout reaches the age of 21, they've always, under this process, developed an extensive criminal record. This criminal record now does not allow them, or it impedes their ability to find gainful employment, so they remain on the streets looking for a way to survive. And very often what we see is that they end up doing prison time at an early age in their life. The point that I want to make here is that there is a direct connection between the filling of prisons across this state to the inequity in the public school funding formula, because in communities that are struggling economically, that means the people living there in those communities are struggling as well. And so as they struggle in these communities, then they are left too often without the resources to sustain their lives in a legal way. The social scientists know this, they understand this, and so this is really just a setup, because now these young men end up in prison directly related to the poor quality of preparation that they should be getting in our public schools, such that when they graduate, too few of them do, they will have the requisite skills to get a job and make a living legally. Since that is not what is happening, they are left on the streets too often to simply find a way to survive. And we know that people must survive, and they need a means in which they can support themselves legally and become productive citizens of our community, be contributors to their family, and at the end of the day, be contributing members of our society for the positive good. And so, we need to be working as a political party. We need to be working as politically conscious people, that we are sending people that represent our communities to the halls of government, that they are there to promote laws, policies, and practices that will help us solve many of our problems, and not just go there to get along with whatever is going on. And so we cannot afford to have political representatives who see themselves first and foremost as Democrats or Republicans. They go there because first and foremost they are representatives of the constituents in the district that elected them. And that is not happening for us, and that needs to change right now. And so the pipeline to prison will never change until such time as we make certain that our communities and our children have access to quality education that will prepare them to live a productive and crime-free life. Thank you.